G'day folks, welcome back to another vid. If you've watched our previous video, you'd know that we've just got installed a set of Kumho Road Venture AT52s down at Tyre Wise at Warana on the sunny coast. And we told you that we're going to take the tyre out for a bit of a run for its money, and that's what we've done today. And we've taken it out up in the sunny coast. We've kicked off at Mooloolaba where we live, and we've headed up to Kenilworth, and then from there we've into the mountains and found some beautiful places along the way. Anyway, this is not about where we've gone, it's about these tyres. And I've got to tell you, so far on the highway they were super quiet. Going around the bends up in the mountains, they really gave me confidence as we went around the corners. Of course, we're only going 20-30 k's around corners, but still they felt really comfortable. Now it's not wet, so I can't give any feedback on what they're like in the wet, but we certainly will, although it's 300 days of sunshine up here on the sunny coast. That's what the mayor said. Anyway, and I guess he's been pretty spot on so far. Anyway, as we left Kenilworth, went up to Kenilworth, we had a pie of course, and then we headed up further into the mountains. And now this particular track we went to, we'd never been before, so we didn't know what we were going to expect. But as soon as we hit the gravel, we pulled up just before a creek crossing and we dropped our tyre pressures. Now we dropped them down from our normal road pressure, which is 40 psi cold. We let things cool down and we dropped them to about 30 psi. And the reason we did that is because we were going to cross a creek, and we did want to let everything in the diffs in particular cool down before we cross the creek, so we don't suck any water in those diffs through the breathers. Now, even though we've got extended diff breathers up into the engine bay, you just never can be too sure. So we just pulled up, Olga made us a beautiful coffee, and we dropped the tyre pressures and got ready to go. Anyway, we crossed the creek crossing with no dramas at all, headed up into the mountains, and boy oh boy did it get interesting. We come across some sand, we come across some rocky creek crossings, some pretty steep hills with some ruts in them, and there was about 20 million off-road motorbikes coming at us at 1,000,000 miles an hour that we had to navigate through. And that was good because we were able to pull up pretty fast on a few occasions. I had to slam the brakes on to save somebody. So these things, the tyres handle really well in that type of condition. Headed off, and then we ended up at this beautiful little campsite we're at now, where we just pulled up and going to have a bit of a chat about the tyres. So, my first impressions of these tyres are that it does instill a lot of confidence for me as a driver. We were very happy with the AT51s, and when we saw the AT52s, we were quite impressed with the new design, which they got bigger sort of lugs on the surface of them. They've got better siping, which is to allow the water and things to come out. They've got almost 100% improvement in the sidewall, this side biters here, which is really important for us as we're trying to navigate difficult terrain. It is also a snow peak rated tyre, which means they're suited for snow conditions, and I'd imagine that's got a lot to do with that siping I just mentioned before. Now we also went up a size in tyres, so we went from the 225 65-17 to the 235 65-17. And if you don't know what those numbers mean, the 235 is the width of the tyre, the 65 is there's a sidewall here as a percentage of the width, and the 17 is the rim size. And that gave us just a fraction of a lift as well, but they look really good. They fit that side, the actual tyre well perfectly. And they also, the spare, fit in the spare cradle, but we did have to leave the air out of the tyre, but that's cool. We carry a compressor so we can pump it up if we need it. Hopefully we won't. So, first impressions are, I'm very confident with the tyre. Kumho have been around since 1974, selling tyres in Australia, that is. They've also recently won an award in Japan for the best tyre design, which is pretty cool. We've got a company that's been around for a long time, so that's important for us. And why? Because if we get stuck out in the bush, we want to know we can ring somebody and deal with a warranty claim or get a spare tyre out to us quickly. Speaking of which, they do have a 150-day road hazard warranty from the day you get them installed, which is really important. And they also are boasting a 20% more wear. Now, I've had customers come up to us at our driver training courses and say they've been getting 60-70,000 k's out of the tyre with still life in them. That's pretty good. But of course you do have to remember that looking after your tyres is really important. So dropping your tyre pressures to suit the terrain, getting a wheel balance, getting a wheel alignment, rotating your tyres every 10,000 k's. There's a lot of things that you need to do to make sure you look after your tyres. At the end of the day, we're asking these things to do a lot. These 4 rubber things around every corner of your vehicle are travelling and getting you to places that sometimes is pretty rough. And lots of K's on the highway, lots of dirt, lots of rocks. So you be kind to them and I'll be kind to you. That's what I've found. Anyway, our first impressions are, this stage, the tyre instills confidence. I'd like to see what they're like in a couple of years when we've really given them a run for their money, and we'll keep you posted as we travel around the place. But if you've got any questions on the Road Ventures AT52, the Kumhos, certainly get in touch with us. We're more than happy to share our experience, and just like we do at our driver training courses and our tours, we're only going to share information with you about things that, or recommend things that we think are good. We're not going to steer you down a garden path. It's really important for us that we give you the right information to make sure you get the best experience out there. And that's what we intend to do with these tyres. So watch this space as we get out there and explore more and more on the Kumho Road Venture AT52s for the love of travel.